Oh, I'm 4 minutes late. Hello. It's the Hamster 704. It is the eve of the big day of the year, International Men's Day, which is November 19th, which is tomorrow here in the U.S. It's already November 19th over in Australia, down under. Australia. So we have an action-packed show tonight. Got a bunch of stuff we're going to go through. Of course, the biggest news of the week, and I'm sure many people on both sides of the aisle figured this one was a coming. So here we go. USA. Yes. Jack that microphone up. Do it. Do it now.
Well, thank you very much. And on behalf of Melania, myself, and our entire family, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It's
now, I really would like to shake the hand of the sound engineer here. Sounds like Trump is right in the freaking room here. It's amazing.
Very special place.
All right.
You and all of those watching are the heart and soul of this incredible movement.
Donald Trump, I got the best microphones. The best microphones in Florida. At Mar-a-Lago, the best microphones.
The greatest country in the history of the world.
Now, Mr. President, if you don't mind, back in 2016, you know what? I threw a couple of bucks at the Trumpster. I figured, what the hell, right? Hillary or Trump, it's a couple dollars, whatever, right? So I sent it in using my Google email, right? Because I figured, I don't want them to know too much. Well, of course, when you go sign up, you have to give me your blood type, and you're just, what the? Oh, my God. Anyway, so threw the money at him, and for the last 7 fucking years, just been constant email, constant text, constant send me more money. So we'll see, Mr. Trump. I don't know.
It's very simple.
I just don't want to get inundated with your emails for the next 7 years or something.
There's never been anything like it. This great movement of ours. Never been anything like it, and perhaps there will never be anything like it again.
Make America great. Great, Captain. Lead the ship. Do not let it sink, everyone. Good evening. Douglas Edwards, Chaos for You. Brandon Trueblood. Hello. Ballistic Zero is in the building. Young Buddha and Jungle and Mr. Pliskin. Snakey is here. So Trump is going to run again in 24. What do you think? How's he going to do?
Never been anything to compete with what we have all done.
Here we go again. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and
yes, sir,
my fellow citizens,
Mr.
America's comeback starts right now.
Yo, America.
2 years ago, when I left office, the United States stood ready for its golden age. Our nation was at the pinnacle of power, prosperity, and prestige, towering above all rivals, vanquishing all enemies, and striding into the future, confident and so strong. In 4 short years, everybody was doing great. Men, women, African Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, everybody was thriving like never before.
Yep, right before the coof came in and fucked it all up. What did you say? What? I did not say anything. Come on now. What are you trying to say?
There was never a time.
I did not say anything like that. Would you stop it? Are you trying to get me booted off of YouTube again like we did last week? I don't know what the hell we were doing, but that was this week. It's like, it's probably drinking too much, but yep. Like I said, last video of what I can remember, I do remember saying, if he gets the nominee, he's got my vote. That's all there is to it. Or DeSantis or Tom Cruise, whoever, to get Biden and his gang out. And I'm sure you've heard about the investigations going on now, apparently out of fucking nowhere. Hey, let's investigate Joe Biden. Okay. Yeah, Trump's getting one too. We'll get to that here in a minute.
Like this. We turned the page on decades of globalist sellouts and one-sided trade deals, lifted millions out of poverty, and together we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. When the virus hit our shores, I took decisive action and saved lives and the U.S. economy. And by October of the same year, America was roaring back with the #1 fastest economic recovery ever recorded. How about that?
Well, I think DeSantis has
all of the incoming administration, and all they had to do was just sit back and watch. Inflation was non-existent. Our southern border was by far the strongest ever.
True.
And because the border was so tight, drugs were coming into our country at the lowest level in many, many years. Importantly, after decades of rising energy costs, the United States had finally attained the impossible dream of American energy independence, which soon would have turned into energy dominance.
Yep. No. We'd rather rely on potentially unstable sources of oil in the Middle East. I mean, why wouldn't we?
For the first time in memory, China was reeling and back on its heels. You've never seen that before, because the United States was outdoing them on every single front, and China was paying billions and billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs. The farmers know that because they got 28 billion of it. No president had ever sought or received $1 for our country from China until I came along, and we were getting hundreds of billions of dollars. Many people think that because of this, China played a very active role in the 2020 election. Just saying.
Yes, don't even know.
Just saying.
Oh, he's crazy. He's a crazy
Sure, that
man.
didn't happen. Instead of jobs and factories leaving America for China, they were, for the first time ever, leaving China for America.
Now, I wonder is DeSantis really Trump without all the I mean, the honest thing is, it doesn't matter who runs for president on the Republican side. He's a Nazi. He's a terrorist. He's a misogynist. He hates women. Blah. It doesn't really matter. But they seem to really, really hate Trump a whole lot. And the man's jumping back into the fire. Okay. All right.
Businesses were pouring back because of our historic tax and regulation cuts, the biggest in both categories in history. Bigger even than what Ronald Reagan was able to produce, and he produced a lot.
Now, this is where I part ways just a little bit with the president. You didn't cut spending, dude. You didn't cut spending, and you had 2 years of the whole thing. You had the whole lot, White House and Congress. You didn't do it. Go on.
Arby's roast beef sandwiches, now 4 for $10.
No. All right. Now I'm hungry.
Yep, we've got you covered. Sell,
right,
buy
good,
home loans.
good.
OfferPad can help you do it all.
Go ahead. Yeah.
China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea were in check and respected. They respected the United States, and quite honestly, they respected me. I knew them well.
I mean, y'all remember, right? Y'all, because I'm from Missouri, where we have all. You remember Trump went to North Korea to meet with the fat guy, whatever his name is, Kim Jong-un. It's probably the first time in a very long time that something like that has happened. I mean, we're talking like not quite China level of Richard Nixon, but man doesn't get credit for that. Or the Middle East peace or anything. No, he's just evil.
I knew them well.
Nazi. Yep.
The vicious ISIS caliphate, which no president was able to conquer,
Like
was
60 days.
decimated by me and our great warriors. in less than 3 weeks, and al-Baghdadi, its founder, was hunted down and killed.
Yep.
North Korea had not launched a single long-range missile since my summit with Chairman Kim Jong-un nearly 3 years before. We developed a relationship, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing when we don't have our allies and friends over in Asia getting bombed by North Korea. That's normally a good thing, except if you're Trump. Then that's a bad thing somehow because mind virus, etc. Now, it isn't that long ago, and I know memories are short. Some of you guys are like, "Oh, I was in high school, man. I didn't care about that shit." Remember the threat that ISIS was during at least the second half of the Obama presidency. These guys are off. They're killing people, chopping heads off. They were bad news. And President Trump took care of business. That's how you got to deal with people who are animals.
It's a good thing.
Killing people like that, cutting heads off. I mean, come on now.
Very good thing, actually, because look at what's happening today. My opponents made me out to be a warmonger.
Yes, yes.
And just a terrible person who would immediately go into war.
The only president in recent history who didn't get us into a war.
They said during the 2016 campaign that if he becomes
he was going to, you were going to nuke the world, Mr. Trump. Don't you remember what Nancy Pelosi said right after the election? Oh, we got to get the nuclear secrets and the codes because he's a crazy man.
There will never be a war within weeks, and we will have wars like you've never seen before. It will happen immediately, and yet I've gone decades without a war, the first president to do it for that long a period.
That's right. That's right. I was just watching a documentary on the Iraq War. Pretty frightening stuff, really.
The world was at peace. America was prospering, and our country was on track for an amazing future, because I made big promises to the American people, and unlike other presidents, I kept my promises. I kept them.
For the most part. Yeah. I'll agree. Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much. Under our leadership, we were a great and glorious nation, something you haven't heard for quite a long period of time. We were a strong nation, and importantly, we were a free nation. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. For millions of Americans, the past 2 years under Joe Biden have been a time of pain, hardship, anxiety, and despair. As we speak, inflation is the highest in over 50 years. Gas prices have reached the highest levels in history and expect them to go much higher now that the strategic national reserves, which I filled up, have been virtually drained in order to keep gasoline prices lower just prior to the election.
Now, let's not blame President Biden for all this. I mean, Trump had his hand in it too. They were spending money like crazy. They were giving stimulus checks and all kinds of horse shit. You remember that was an unprecedented event, obviously, the coup. Nobody knew what the hell was going on, but it didn't take them long to figure out. But of course, we are in the after effects of all that spending, all that other happy shit. Now, unfortunately for President Biden, sorry, the buck stops with you. You're going to get the blame. That's just the way it is if you're in the top seat there, Chief.
Joe Biden has intentionally surrendered our energy independence.
That's true.
There is no longer even a thought of dominance, and we are now begging for energy help from foreign nations, many of whom find us detestable.
Give a year full of pure old-fashioned.
Doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I know people are concerned with the environment, with the global warming and all that. I get it. But you can't just stop on a dime. we're going to have to use oil for probably another 20 years or so before we transition into something different. Why not get it from our own country? Why not get it from Canada, our neighbors? Nope. Shit canned the Keystone Pipeline. Day one. Way to go, Biden.
Fun with a 2023
And
silver
what happens to those hydrocarbons? They get sold on the open market and they go other places. You see what I'm saying?
dollar city season
Yes,
pass.
you do.
Our southern border has been erased, and our country is being invaded by millions and millions of unknown people, many of whom are entering for a very bad and sinister reason. And you know what that reason is. We will be paying a big price for this invasion into our country for years to come.
Now, wait a minute. Mr. Trump, Mr. President. We have Chuck Schumer coming up. He says this is a really good thing.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds of deadly drugs, including very lethal fentanyl.
I just read a story today about some kid. I don't know what the deal was. I don't think he was a drug addict or whatever, and I'm not sure. I can't remember where it was, but apparently he stumbled across some of this fentanyl crap and got, I don't know if he was trying to drink it like Kool-Aid or whatever, but killed him. 13-year-old kid. Crazy.
Are flooding across the now open and totally porous southern border. The blood-soaked streets of our once great cities are cesspools of violent crimes, which are being watched all over the world as leadership of other countries explain that this is what America and democracy is really all about. How sad. The United States has been embarrassed, humiliated, and weakened for all to see. The disasters in Afghanistan, perhaps the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, where we lost lives, left Americans behind, and surrendered $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment anywhere in the world. And Ukraine, which would have never happened if I were your president, are something.
Well, it's obviously because you're a crony of, you and Putin are best buddies, right? Isn't that what they say? You remember Afghanistan? Wasn't that all that long ago, a couple of years ago? You remember the media, the chorus. Oh, it's not going to be like Vietnam. When it was exactly like Vietnam. But hey, don't let your lying eyes deceive you. Listen to CNN. Right.
And even the Democrats admit that. That's something I've seen them admit over and over again. But our enemies
kind of hard to deny
are
it.
speaking of us with scorn and laughter and derision because of those two events. But there are many more. Even just today, a missile was sent in, probably by Russia, to Poland, 50 miles into Poland. And people are going absolutely wild and crazy, and they're not happy. They're very, very angry. Now we have a president who falls asleep at global conferences. Was held in contempt by the British Parliament over Afghanistan.
What? Didn't hear that.
Thanks to the words of wisdom, he said thank you to the wrong country for inviting him to a major summit on the environment of all things.
God.
We are being deceived.
One would think by now, with all this climate crisis, all these billionaires flying their private jets all in wherever the hell they go. Have they ever heard of Skype? Have they, Windows Messenger or something, right? No.
The border crisis is not like what we've been told.
Not for the elite.
They fly for days to get there, and then he calls the country a name that was actually a country on another continent.
Oops.
And he's leading us to the brink of nuclear war, a concept unimaginable just 2 short years ago. You cannot mention the nuclear word.
Except in the fever dreams of Nancy Pelosi, who thought you were going to nuke the world when you didn't win. Other than that, Mr. President.
Devastating. The Green New Deal and the environment, which they say may affect us in 300 years, is all that is talked about. And yet nuclear weapons, which would destroy the world immediately, are never even discussed as a major threat. Can you imagine?
No.
They say the ocean will rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 200 to 300 years.
1/8 of an inch. Wow. That kind of sounds like natural. Wow. What do you know, you evil bastard? You.
But don't worry about nuclear weapons. They can take out entire countries with one.
Speaking of nuclear, excuse me, that would be another obvious solution to power all those damn electric cars, right? Nope. Can't do that. No.
Shot.
It's scary. There's little radioactive bugs. Oh my God.
Something is wrong with their thinking. Under Biden and the radical Democrats, America has been mocked, derided, and brought to its knees, perhaps like never before.
Yeah.
But we are here tonight to declare that it does not have to be this way. It does not have to be this way.
Yes, Pelosi is history, Timothy. That's right. Yep.
2 years ago, we were a great nation, and soon we will be a great nation again.
All right. Cool. Great.
The decline of America is being forced upon us by Biden and the radical left lunatics running our government right into the ground. This decline is not a fate we must accept. When given the choice, boldly, clearly, and directly, I believe the American people will overwhelmingly reject the left's platform of national ruin.
Oops.
And they will embrace our platform of national greatness and glory to America. Glory.
Didn't exactly work out that way last week, but okay. It's close, though. Close.
Exactly 1 week ago, our citizens voted in the important midterm elections.
Yes.
And despite a ridiculously long and unnecessary period of waiting, far longer, in fact, than any third world country, just a short time ago, the Republicans won back control of the House of Representatives.
That's another thing that Mr. Trump could bring up, but he doesn't want to. Throw any goodness over at DeSantis. Although we really, really hope he doesn't do that. But they had the votes in Florida. How many people live in Florida? 24 million, 30 million people. They had the votes counted in like 4 hours. So how do we explain how Arizona, a state of 4 million, 5, 6 million people, took them over a week? Interesting. It seems to me that if states want to do it, they can. You know what I'm saying?
And it was with a great Trump-endorsed candidate, Congressman-elect Kevin Kiley, who is a fantastic person.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy it was his vote that did it. But we now won back. This happened just an hour ago.
And the crazy woman out of Colorado also went back, Boebert. So the gun-toting Annie Oakley there.
Criticism is being placed on the fact that the Republican Party should have done better. And frankly, much of this blame is correct. But the citizens of our country have not yet realized the full extent and gravity of the pain our nation is going through. And the total effect of the suffering is just starting to take hold. They don't quite feel it yet, but they will very soon.
Mr. President, this might be a weird concept to bring up here during your speech, but have you thought that maybe, just maybe, some of this is intentional? Just saying.
I have no doubt that by 2024, it will sadly be much worse, and they will see much more clearly what happened and what is happening to our country. And the voting will be much different. 2024.
Not for the 18 to 30-year-old single women. Oh, no. Nope. That's lost. That's done.
Are you getting ready?
Yay! Yay!
And I am too.
All right.
I am too.
All right.
I do want to point out that in the midterms, my endorsement success rate was 232 wins and only 22 losses. You don't hear that from the media.
Yep. Well, why would you?
And this is an elegant night and an elegant place, and I'm not going to use the term fake news media. So we're going to keep it very elegant.
Okay.
But you don't hear that from the media.
No.
But I think you will, because people are starting to see what happened. That's some score. And in the primaries was 98.6%.
Sephora at Kohl's is the perfect place to start shopping.
My poll was bigger than yours.
For everybody in your family.
I got the biggest poll.
But they were still trying to blame me. And the reason for the success and that unprecedented success rate is that the Trump administration changed our nation on trade, on securing the border. We're the strongest, safest border ever in the history of our country. On Islamic terrorism, we had practically just about, not that I can think of, no Islamic attacks, terrorist attacks during the Trump administration.
Not here.
And in fact, we got along very well with the various countries.
Other places were still suffering, though, honestly.
Including coming up with the Abraham Accords. It's a great thing, the Abraham Accords.
Yep.
But it's because of cutting taxes and cutting regulations at the highest level ever, and on building the greatest economy. Any time in the history of the world, there's never been an economy like we had just 2 years ago. Despite the outcome in the Senate, we cannot lose hope. And we must all work very hard for a gentleman and a great person named Herschel Walker, a fabulous human being who loves our country and will be a great United States Senator. Herschel Walker, get out and vote for Herschel, and he deserves it. He was an incredible athlete. He'll be an even better senator. Get out and vote for Herschel Walker.
Let's see what happens.
We elected a group of incredibly talented America First leaders who will be stars of our party for many years to come. In the popular vote, another thing that's not discussed for the House, we must remember that Republicans won 5 million more votes, the largest margin in many, many years over the Democrats. 5 million more votes. That's a big thing.
That is.
Breaking the radical Democrats' grip on Congress was crucial. So in other words, because of our great congressmen and all of our great congressmen and congresswomen, we have taken over Congress. Nancy Pelosi has been fired. Isn't that nice?
I knew it was coming. You're fired. You're fired.
I told them, I said, if you just keep a little bit lower standard, you're going to have a big victory. They said, let's win by 40 seats. Let's win by 50. I said, if you win by 2 seats, be happy.
Yeah.
But she's on her way to another country right now. She's been fired.
Yes.
But we always have known that this was not the end. It was only the beginning of our fight to rescue the American dream. And it's a word you don't use. 2 words. I don't want to be Joe. It's 2 words, American dream. That was not good what he did. There are a lot of bad things, like going to Idaho and saying, welcome to the state of Florida. I really love it.
Whoa. Did he do that?
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
And there you go. And there you go. Now, Trump, his speech is something on the order of 68 minutes, 70 minutes, something like that. So you can find it all over the internet if you want to listen to the whole thing. But I think that's pretty good highlight. So the Trumpster is in again. Let's see, Orange Nazi, blah, 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 blah. Well. This announcement was what, Tuesday or Wednesday? Can't exactly remember when it was. Well, looky here. Oh, God. You may not have heard. Let's go to CNN.
An announcement from Attorney General Merrick Garland set to appoint a special counsel in the Trump probe. Evan, tell us.
Yes.
That's right.
The
so
evil
in
Nazi.
the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to hear from the Attorney General directly, but he has appointed a special counsel to oversee the investigations, the twin investigations into the former president. One of them, of course, is the Justice Department's investigation of the retention of national security information. These are the classified documents.
Yeah, he had the nuclear power plant secrets and all kinds of shit. Oh, man. He's going to be in an orange jumpsuit to match his orange.
Found by the FBI during the search at the former president's residence in Palm.
Now, what Trump needed to do was just keep a private server with all this shit on there, and nothing had happened. I know.
In Mar-a-Lago.
Take a page from Hillary Clinton.
The second part of this is parts of the January 6th investigation that touch on the former president. Of course, you know that
he incited a riot.
The Justice
we
Department
know.
has been looking into.
Right.
Is the involvement of the former president and people around him in the effort to obstruct the transfer of power after the 2020 election. He was involved in the fake elector scheme and in the entire effort to try to prevent Congress from certifying Joe Biden's victory at the end of the 2020 election. So those are two things that the special counsel, who has already been appointed by the Attorney General, who is now going to oversee those two key aspects of these two investigations. Now,
if I might interrupt just for a moment. How long do you think they got to keep dragging this shit out? If they got something on Trump, freaking charge him already, for crying out loud. Jesus.
We're going to hear a little bit more about who the Attorney General has appointed when the Attorney General comes out to speak. Again,
wouldn't it be funny if it was Bill Barr?
So, and we're going to hear a lot more about exactly why this was done. But look, we previously reported, we broke the story here at CNN that this was something that was in discussion at the Justice Department. And part of the calculation was the idea that having someone not part of the political leadership here, under the political leadership here, overseeing these investigations was important if the former president declares that he is a candidate for office once more, given the fact that obviously he might be running against.
He did announce his candidacy, so.
Merrick Garland, the Attorney General's boss, Joe Biden, if he decides to run for re-election. So that's part of the issue, which was to try to insulate those two investigations and keep them out of the realm of politics. Of course, you guys know that, you can try to do that, but then, of course, it has to do with Donald Trump. And there's probably no way to divorce yourself entirely from the political atmosphere of this.
Yeah.
Evan, stay with me. I want to bring in Jessica Schneider, who is knowing more about the deliberations that took place to get to this point. What have you learned, Jessica?
Well, Anna, as Evan just mentioned here, it was our team 2 weeks ago that broke that news that the DOJ was considering whether or not a special counsel would be necessary.
Haven't they been talking about a special counsel for 2 years? Interesting how the timing was, huh?
Once Trump
announced. You think it may have had something to do with they didn't want to do it before the election because it might have turned some people
his candidacy for a second term. Of course, that announcement happening
might have fired up the MAGA base, you think, maybe.
Earlier this week on Tuesday night.
No.
So presumably the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, acting fairly quickly here within a matter of days.
Plus 2 years. Yeah.
To decide to name a special counsel to oversee these two parallel and very big probes that are ongoing into January.
I was just going to mention that. Is that, remember all that, the classified documents, Mar-a-Lago, all that shit. Haven't heard boo about that, have you? For months, nothing. And boom.
January 6th, and also the alleged retention of classified documents at the former president's home in Palm Beach, Florida, Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
So this has been something that the DOJ has been considering for many weeks as all of these investigations have really crescendoed. And that announcement will be coming today from the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. You know, Evan talked a little bit about a special counsel, the fact that it can somewhat insulate the Department of Justice from any cries of politicization here. Of course, those cries are going to come inevitably.
Of course.
But ultimately, what's important to note here is that even though this special counsel will be named very shortly by the Attorney General, he'll reveal who it is. That special counsel will operate independently. However, ultimately, any decisions about whether to charge the former president, Donald Trump, or any of his associates, that's something that will in fact be run by and approved ultimately by the Attorney General and top officials at the Justice Department. Of course, the United States public has seen this before. We saw Robert Mueller be named as special counsel by then Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein.
Memories aren't quite that short, sweetheart. That wasn't that long ago.
That was way back in 2017.
Yeah, 5 years ago. Wasn't that long?
Saw that probe ongoing for at least
4 years.
A year and a half, I believe.
About
and then,
4
of course,
years.
we still have a special counsel, John Durham, who's been ongoing and actually unsuccessful in several prosecutions that he's brought. So this will be a special counsel that will be announced by the Attorney General. We're expecting that live announcement at 2:15.
2:15.
Presumably, the Attorney General will name who the special counsel will be, and then explain the parameters of this investigation and what he'll be overseeing. But Anna, it will be quite broad because obviously these two parallel tracks into
get
the
rid of Trump,
former president's involvement in January 6th, trying to overturn the 2020 election. And then, of course, that continuing investigation that popped up over the summer that we all learned about into the alleged retention of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago.
Scotty
so expecting more from the
probe,
Attorney General
dude.
in just about a half hour here, Anna.
Do we know who he's planning to appoint, or is he just going to announce?
No, she just said you don't. Yeah. I wonder who it was. Should we look? Oh, that's right. I can't do that. Hold on. We'll just go back here for a minute.
Growth Suite clicked for me right out of the gate. I mean, I think it was a beautiful looking platform, and I think we got in on it in its very early days. And so as it's evolved over time, it's just gotten sweeter.
Let's see if this guy is here somewhere. What's his name? Merrick Garland? Oh, here he is. Merrick Garland makes announcement on Trump investigation.
Right. Sell, buy home loans, offer help you do it all. In fact, we've done everything for you. Sell this home, buy it next, and include a home loan. You could save thousands.
Why is it still playing?
Can you tell our son he needs to find his own place?
No.
You made me.
Where the hell is it?
I am your son.
I'm
Do you
sorry.
love me
There
anymore?
it is. Hold on.
Who's going to make me breakfast?
Boom. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Hey, I don't have all that fancy gear like some other guys have. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Let's see. Former President Trump. There, we're sharing that one. Go here. Boom. Paste. And away we go. Let's see what this guy has to say. I'm sure this will be quite exciting. So let's see if we can just get to the point here. Oh, they're testing the lighting, I guess. All right. Go ahead. All right, go ahead. Jeez. Yes, yes. Take some pictures. There you go. This momentous occasion where Trump is going to get hosed.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I'm here today to announce the appointment of a special counsel in connection with two investigations that have received significant public attention. The first, as described in court filings in the District of Columbia, is the investigation into whether any person or entity unlawfully interfered with the transfer of power following the 2020 presidential election or the certification of the Electoral College vote held on or about January 6, 2021. The second is the ongoing investigation involving classified documents, other presidential records, as well as the possible obstruction of that investigation referenced and described in court filings in a pending matter in the Southern District of Florida.
Okay.
I'm joined today by Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia Matthew Graves, and Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division Kenneth Polite. Assistant Attorney General for National Security Matthew Olson could not be here.
Okay.
He is currently in Germany representing the department at the G7 Home Affairs and Security Ministerial.
Okay.
U.S. Attorney Graves has been ably leading the investigations into the events leading up to and on January 6th. He and dozens of assistant U.S. attorneys and other prosecutors have taken on the monumental task of conducting over 900 prosecutions in defense of our democratic institutions.
Okay, I'm terribly sorry. This is the White House, the president, the attorney general, and they've only got sound on one side. Dudes, come on.
Criminal Division prosecutors under the able leadership of Assistant Attorney General Polite have played a significant role in those prosecutions. Assistant Attorney General Olson has been ably leading the team responsible for investigating the matter involving classified documents and other presidential
Well, who the hell is it? Who
as
are
well as the possible obstruction of that investigation.
Right.
All of the career prosecutors assigned to these matters are conducting their work in the best traditions of the Department of Justice.
All right.
I also want to recognize the efforts of the many FBI agents and other law enforcement personnel who are assigned to these matters.
Do we get a name
They
here,
are
or what is
working
that?
courageously-
Shut up. They're appointing some hacks from Washington to investigate Trump. Okay, goody. All right, let's see what happens. Now, let's get the chuckles.
Let me just say this.
Chuckles.
First,
Again,
I believe in this so much.
That's a nice mic there. It sounds good. You're all over this, Chuck. Go ahead. Uncle of Amy Schumer, by the way.
I believe in it in a personal basis because I know Dreamer.
Funniest part about Amy Schumer is some people think she's a comedian.
Who have been such great people here in America and who have just struggled. Every time they get a phone call, every time they walk down the street, they're worried. Will someone grab them and take them away?
Sure.
So that's personal about them and what they have done. But I also believe in it overall as an American who wants to see our country be stronger.
Now, of course, he's talking about illegal aliens, people who have jumped the border. He will eventually go on and say, well, there's at least 11 million of these poor people in this country. 11 million from like 15 years ago. It's more like 30 million, 35 million people here who are without papers.
Because immigrants make us stronger now more than ever.
Okay, right.
Now more than ever. We're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to.
Well, Chuck, where is this leading?
The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
However many. Did you hear what he had to say there?
We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to.
We're just under replacement rate in the United States. So what are we going to do? How are we going to get more young people in here to pay taxes and to hold up the system? Any ideas, Chuck? What do you say? Let's replace them by giving amnesty to 35 million people. Now, there's a couple of problems with this, right? One of the problems is if you are illegal, I'm not 100% sure about this, but if you're here illegally, you're not necessarily covered by minimum wage laws and all the other things, right? You know, you got these hardworking guys. You've seen them all around, you know, putting roofs on and doing landscaping, doing other work. I mean, they're doing a lot of hard work. There's no question about that. You know, the folks that want to come here to work are working hard. They're trying to be bad. I get it. I totally get it. I do. Now, there's some bad apples that come over too, but I'm guessing the majority of these people that come here are good, hardworking people. Now, they're not covered by current laws that would be applied to citizens with respect to minimum wage and workman's comp and all that stuff. So if you give amnesty to all of these people, they're suddenly citizens who can work anywhere they want to. They'd also be subject to minimum wage laws, workman's comp, unemployment insurance, all of these other things. Is that going to make some of these people a little less economically attractive to hire? After all, why would you work at the meatpacking plant in Austin, Minnesota, for example, for $7 an hour? When you got yourself in a citizenship card now, you just go to a different factory and work for the United Auto Workers and make 20 or 25 or 30 or 40. Do you see my point? Do you? Sounds like somebody's looking for votes, eh? Funny thing is, a lot of these folks are conservative, so they don't want to hear that. Yeah, illegals are, they work hard and they work cheap. That's the draw, Plus, whatever work they're doing here that's hard and shitty, it's a hell of a lot better than what they can get in Mexico or Central America or South America. That much is true. John, immigrants won't stay for all taxes and no benefits. They came for opportunities. The petrodollar won't exist to create. Again, it's an interesting discussion. You make 30 people suddenly legal, and all the laws in the country that are applicable to citizens are applicable to them. Yeah, I can see something. Aerodynamics says, I know immigrants who come here who regret. Well, they can always go home, I suppose. It's just Mr. Pliskin, Snakey. I heard these alleged people can get subsidy from the government. I'm sure they. God only knows, Snake. I'm certain. I'm certain there's some of that going on. So we got Trump running for president. Trump's going to be indicted. We got Chucky Schumer looking for the, shall we say, the replacement of workers because American women aren't having enough children to replace the population. Now, my understanding of the replacement rate is that it's positive or something. What is it? Two children per year or something, whatever it is, but it's the number of babies born compared to the number of people who die, I think. And we're just under replacement rate. So we're not making enough people to keep the population going. So we got to get those taxpayers from somewhere now, don't we? Yay! Abso-freaking. But don't worry, though. Don't worry, people. Democrats have been telling us for years, well, they pay their taxes. They should get a vote and all. Really? Okay. All right. Well, okay. Or get them out of the shadows, right? They're afraid to call the police and all that other
Enough for
bullshit.
Two, price for one.
Corner case garbage.
New Pizza Hut melts, just $6.99.
All right. Pizza Hut, go there.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. That's why we built a different kind of rewards and partnership program.
All right, let's get down to the fun stuff, shall we? It's complicated, has a new video. Let's walk through it. Yes. Okay, let's hear it.
If women have been historically oppressed, what are the
Is this chick over here toking some kush up? Undead Chronic, here. This would be a lady for you.
expression ladies first
Right on
from?
the street in Las Vegas, toking one up. It's like, whoa. Okay.
Guys, let the bitches go. You gotta let the ladies go first. The ladies, look at her. Like, look, why wouldn't you let her go first?
We real bad bitches. You gotta let a real bad bitch go. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. You didn't mean it like that, but yes, you gotta let a bad bitch go. That's right.
It came from men believing that women are so, like, I guess, dainty and fragile that
okay.
they put women first.
Could be because women are the ones who reproduce and have babies. I don't know. Maybe it's something like that.
Because that comes from misogyny and the patriarchy as well.
Of course, it's all misogyny and the patriarchy. Of course it is. Yeah, treating women gentlemanly and holding doors open, pulling chairs out, all that. That's misogynist. Patriarchy. Treating someone nicely is misogyny. Okay.
What is patriarchy, and
I like this guy. Go ahead.
why do so many women complain about it?
Patriarchy is outdated and non-existent.
Okay, would you agree, though, that it's defined as a system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it?
Okay, yes, we're talking about like 1600s England.
All of the rules.
That guy's going to be on fire during the whole video. I don't know if you watched it. Here, let me link it. Let me put the stinky linky in the chat. Yeah, Frank Zappa. right. Frank Zappa. All right, go ahead. All right, let's go back. The link is in the chat.
Rules of our society were created by men.
Oh, yeah.
All of the positions of power are held by men.
Really? All of them? Really? Well, Vice President of the United States is Kamala Harris. I guess not all of them.
For the most part.
No, not really, no.
And every aspect of how our society functions was decided by men.
I would say that the patriarchy is a system put in place that helps white men specifically.
White men, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In putting them into positions of power so that they can continue taking care of the system instead of dismantling it.
You see, here's the thing that I always wondered about. Because, I'm white. I was born in 1964, obviously privileged because, white male and everything. I never did get the keys to my CEO suite. Just never happened. I guess I was on the naughty list when it came time to hand out the CEO jobs because I still don't have one. And I'm 58 years old. So I must have missed the boat. I mean, all white men are privileged. Where's my CEO job? I don't see it.
Because anyone who has a real opinion and goes into the system trying to fix it is silenced. And that's a fact.
Okay.
Why do people believe patriarchy was built?
I mean, look, is there anything more sad? Is there anything more sad that you can think of? Some 45-year-old cat lady with blue hair. Well, at least it matches their blouse.
Built by men to serve men.
Or whatever that is, a scarf.
And if men are victims of their own design.
That's an excellent question because guys sometimes don't think of it. There are.
The only thing it'd be nice if Mr. Complicated here, if he would just interview sober people. Because a lot of times you can clearly hear she's impaired. She's been having drinks. It's Las Vegas. I mean, that's, you go there to have fun.
Sensitive men out there and they get they do get put down for it.
If we live in a patriarchy, why are men held more accountable than women?
Well, because we're the forefront of things. We're always going to be the forefront of things when we go to war, when we are the face in the public, presidency and all that. When it comes to status, the highest level of status.
Is that a privilege or is that a responsibility?
I believe it's a responsibility.
Bingo. Hey, we have a winner.
Because we're men. Like you said, we do. You said we designed everything. We do everything, so everything comes back on us. The blame.
Sorry, I got this other video running in the background. Sorry about that.
Is that male privilege or is that male responsibility?
Male responsibility.
Male responsibility.
See, more men are starting to get this shit. There's random guys on the street in Las Vegas. They're like, yeah, it's a big responsibility to be a man.
So why do so many people think we have male privilege when we actually have responsibilities that women don't?
Yep.
Damn, I don't know. I'm finna go home and fucking think about it because that's a good ass question.
If we live in such a patriarchal society, where
this chick's cool too.
Do all these laws come from that protect women and punish men?
That's a good one too.
Yep.
That's a really good one too. Honestly, I feel like it would probably have boiled down from either men that have like more of a more.
Michael's Black Friday sale is going on now. Get 70% off frames, ribbon, and more.
More of a feminine mindset, not to be like offensive, or like just men that have, daughters and wives and just I don't know where to make that specifically, not for them, but like essentially for them, to not only protect their daughters and wives and stuff, but everybody's daughters and wives.
Do you think that patriarchy is the cause of gender roles, or is it the result of gender roles?
Gender roles are natural because of physiology and biology.
Right.
Oh, you stop it, you evil. You probably watch Andrew Tate. Oh, my God.
Men were the hunters and women were the gatherers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of caused by, if you look at like the 1950s, the 60s American nuclear family, it was very definitive on what the gender roles of the man and the women were, which I think has definitely contributed to the way we view a patriarchal society today and how we're trying to transgress from that.
Do you think
we're a patriarchy then? This guy is also cool.
Patriarchy is the cause of gender roles, or is it the result of gender roles?
Result.
Historically, weren't men in the productive sphere while women were in the reproductive sphere?
Absolutely.
I feel like in that point in time, it was more so like, ladies cook, ladies clean, ladies take care of the babies, while the man handles, all the outside business, takes care of bringing in the income and all that fun stuff. So
yeah.
I feel like that's where that kind of originated from.
Okay.
Isn't patriarchy just a natural evolution of men and women just giving into their expected roles?
No, because not every woman is reproducing. Not every woman wants to be a woman. Not every woman wants to have kids. So if you're pitting women in this position,
not every woman wants to be a woman. Okay.
Position where it's only put to reproduce, then you're silencing every other voice that we have. We're not only here to reproduce, and men aren't here to be laborers. So when you put it in that way,
really?
what are you saying? We're just here to pop out babies?
Well, no, nobody's saying that at all. So whatever, fantasy you're living in, whatever world that happens to be, fueled by tequila shots in Las Vegas.
Did I ever say all women are all men? I'm just generalizing and saying.
Yeah, you're generalizing, and that's an issue.
I'd argue that women were
obviously no understanding of statistics.
Involved in some critical inventions. Radiation.
Can you name 5 famous female inventors? I'll give you one, Madame Curie.
That's the one I was thinking of. That's cheating. 5 famous female inventors.
Well, I mean, there was Amelia Earhart was a pioneer, female aviator or aviatrix, whatever they could. Remember the ladies back in the 60s, they had a movie over it where they did the calculations for the moon landings and all that stuff. I mean, women have obviously had a big impact in our society, in our history. But I guess they've not been president yet. So,
I think it is a bit of a numbers game. There aren't as many famous female inventors, historians,
because of the evil oppression of men. Well, they might have a point at some place in the distant past.
Mathematicians, any in those powerful roles historically, as there were men.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. In fact, until the 70s.
Okay.
Until the feminist movement.
So isn't patriarchy just the natural evolution of men and women just giving into their expected roles?
Of course.
So why is patriarchy seen as such a bad thing when women always expected men to provide?
Because they're the devil.
He said they're the devils. I love this.
Isn't the idea of patriarchy oppressing women based on a false premise?
Of course.
Yep.
Isn't the idea of patriarchy oppressing women based on a false premise?
In today's day and age, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Women's suffrage was 100 years ago.
That's right. Yeah. They've had the right to vote for 100 years, as they well should. It seems like when you hear the fembots and these whatever bots out there, they don't seem to take into account all the progress. Now, you can make the argument or have the discussion, maybe there's more progress needed here and there. Okay. But for fuck's sake, look in the last 100 years, the situation of females. I mean, even in the last 20, 30 years, I mean, come on now. That's because the movement is running out of gas. They have nothing else to complain about except corner cases. That's it.
Okay. When men were in charge, didn't they still make laws to protect women?
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine that. What kind of a patriarchy would put...
If we lived in a matriarchy, would women make laws to protect men?
Ooh.
I mean, they should.
Yeah.
Okay, why aren't feminists fighting for those laws right now?
Because feminists are a fucking...
I spent 15 years of my career trying to create the digital notebook. Remarkable, solved.
I love it. Digital notebook there.
Loud minority.
If women have been historically oppressed, where did the expression ladies first come from?
Yeah.
That's
women and children first off the Titanic,
a good question.
Yeah. It is.
I would say, honestly,
I don't know.
The women were the softer and fairer sex. So they treated women softer and fairer. They weren't, their place wasn't, they didn't need to be doing anything professionally because that wasn't, they were too soft for that. They were needed to be cared for. So that was where the whole idea, the current idea of like chivalry, of, you know, opening the doors, which I actually do support because it shows respect for women.
All right.
It was always like.
Now, here's the thing. I believe it was a sign that your husband was very successful if you could stay at home and not have to work in a workhouse in England in 1870 or whatever. That was like an upper class kind of thing. Oh, I don't have to go to work. My husband makes plenty of money. Now, of course, it's the exact opposite of that.
Oh, you need to find you a man that does this.
Oh my God. Actually, a stay-at-home mother, stay-at-home wife would be a privilege these days. The way things are going with the cost of housing and everything, that would be a privilege.
This and this, but it was never, you know, like people weren't teaching their sons like, oh, well, you need to have a wife that does this, this, and this. Make sure you have a girl that does this and this. It was always, you know, being more focused on girls finding the, you know, the most perfect man, the most chivalrous man, the man that's going to do all this stuff for you. But I feel like it really shouldn't be about, you know, finding somebody that provides all this stuff for you. It really should be about finding somebody that you guys can really make shit happen together and just elevate together. You know, it shouldn't be about like, oh, well, I provided this and you don't have to provide anything. No.
I mean, she's 100% right. And we might get to one more video here today. Depends. What time is it? Maybe not. But it's just like this. You look at the fresh and fit, the girls, again, not representative really of reality. Those are, you know, garden tools, whatever. But it's like, he's got to do this. He's got to do, well, what are you doing? What is your deal except you're providing maybe a V? Nothing. It's amazing. It is amazing to me. I was like, I don't have to do a damn thing. I'm the prize and all that. But wait a minute. Okay, go ahead.
A society that always places women first be called a patriarchy.
It's a paradox.
Would you consider chivalry to be a female privilege?
Yeah, of course.
If we're placing women first all the time, I don't think it would be called a patriarchy because that doesn't even make sense.
The only one who calls it a patriarchy is feminists. By the way.
Would you consider chivalry to be a female privilege?
Yes.
Ooh, she admitted it.
Chivalry to be a female privilege? I would.
Why?
Yeah, isn't it a privilege to just have people be nice to you just because?
I would, because
for no other reason except
feel like chivalry sometimes has to be deserved, because you know, I don't feel like not to like talk trash about anybody, but I feel like chivalry is definitely something that should be deserved, something that should be earned, you know. Ooh. Not saying everybody should be like rude or anything, but like the utmost chivalry, you know, like the opening doors and like doing all that good stuff. I feel like it should be earned.
I mean, is it chivalrous, for example, if I hold the door open for a dude, or is it just common courtesy? You know what I mean? I hold the door open for everybody. It doesn't matter to me.
Right, but don't women kind of expect that on a first date?
I feel like some people do, but that's why you should talk to who you're going on your first date with to really see what they do and don't expect. To
really
see what does and doesn't work for you as your individual person, if that makes sense.
Okay.
If we lived in a matriarchal society that was run by women, what would the man's role become?
The hard workers, and we'd be the bitches at home.
Isn't that exactly what we have right now?
Yeah, you're right.
Yep. So why would a matriarchy be any better than a patriarchy if that's exactly what we have right now?
Why would it be any different? Would be the question.
Okay, sorry, I contradicted your question. Too many tequila shots.
Oh,
I feel like the opposite would literally happen. You know, women would end up, you know, bringing in all the bread, you know, working all the time, and then it'd be the men that were at home taking care of the kids, you know, cooking, cleaning.
Well, I mean, somebody has to. I mean, if you're gonna have children, somebody has to, you know, provision for it or stay at home. Somebody's got to do it. I mean, children are obviously a big responsibility. So if you can afford it, maybe if you want to nanny or whatever, that kind of thing. But somebody's got to be there. It's got to be one or the other.
Do you think women want to?
Or both, split it somehow. I don't know.
Do all those dangerous, dirty jobs that are typically done by men?
No. I can absolutely say they will not.
So then wouldn't the man's role pretty much stay the same as doing all the hard labor jobs?
Yep.
Honestly, yeah, and then it would just add fuel to the fire, because it'd be, not only do I have to, or as a man, not only do they have to go, do all the working and stuff, they
another one. My goodness. I guess it is Christmas. Yeah. Taco Bell.
What can I do for you, man?
Really craving nacho fries.
also have a wife that's at home, not taking care of the children, not cooking, not cleaning. So then at that point, it's just like, why do you even have a wife?
Man, that's NFL money right there. You can build a Taco Bell right in your house. Now, did you happen to catch what you just said? Let me just rewind that a little bit.
Not only do they have to go, do all the working and stuff, they also have a wife that's at home, not taking care of the children, not cooking, not cleaning. So then at that point, it's just like, why do you even have a wife?
That's a very, very good point. Why indeed? Why indeed?
Can you think of any matriarchies that have existed and stood the test of time?
No.
I mean, no.
So then why do so many women want to tear down the patriarchy and replace it with a matriarchy?
Because they're not smart. They think with their emotions. They're not. You know what? I don't want to put it on all women, but I want to say that the women that believe in things like that, they're just naive. They're misled.
Well, there are examples of matriarchal societies.
Okay. We'll wait.
The Sisseton, which is my ancestry, on my mother's side,
up there in South Dakota,
indigenous people were matriarchal. They're matrilineal, actually, which meant the woman, the female, all inheritances came to the female side, and when you were born into the clan of your mother.
Isn't that the, like, I think Jewish folks do that as well. Is that, I think, if the mother is Jewish, you're Jewish, if I'm not mistaken.
There was that
I might be wrong.
What was that Egyptian queen?
Cleopatra.
Yeah, she was chilling. Something with Alexander the Great.
I think it was Mark Antony and Caesar, but okay, whatever.
I don't know if that would be matriarchal, but that lasted a little while.
Maybe they were contemporaries. I don't know.
Until she was, I guess, bored of it and
killed them all.
Snake bit her.
Many indigenous societies, the Cherokee, Haudenosaunee, many indigenous societies were both matriarchal and matrilineal, but it's not that men had no place. There were men leaders.
The chief was usually, not always, but usually. Yeah.
A matriarchal society isn't necessarily about women controlling everything.
Because we got tired of kind of being pushed around and not being able to speak up for ourselves.
Really? In the 70s, when you were a young woman, you couldn't speak up for yourself. Sounds like selective memory to me. Doesn't it to you?
Because men were being our voices instead of letting us be our voices.
What century was that? Dear. Back before the women had the right to vote. Yeah. Like 100 years ago.
The respect of the women, who is the background of some of the things that we have maybe influence of men doing.
All I'm going to say, it's a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl.
That's not to say that men should live just to serve women, although there is, I think, an argument to be made that is the case, since women are the ones who produce children.
True.
And if children are the future, I think there's a good
children are the future. They're the world, let them take away.
Case to be made that
what was that
the
song?
Point of society should
Michael
be
Jackson?
ultimately to serve the interests of women.
Okay.
Women often complain how it's a man's world and how men have all the power in society.
Yes.
If we lived in a matriarchy and women had all the power, would they be willing to give it up?
Not at all.
Oh, hell no.
So then why should men?
We shouldn't.
But we are.
We are, but we shouldn't.
Don't women have all the power when it comes to controlling sex, and are they willing to give that up?
Nope.
I don't even think that's always true, because if you think about it, men are mostly dominant during sex.
Sweetheart, you're missing the point. Women have to agree to it, or else it's a crime. But that's okay. Go ahead.
And then,
well, I mean, women have the power to basically
say no
if it does or doesn't happen.
Women have the power to basically decide, if it does or doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That is true. That is very
So
true.
once again, don't women have all the power when it comes to controlling sex, and are they willing to give that up?
You're kind of right, and I feel like I don't know if I can speak for everybody, but if I were to speak for like the majority of women, I would probably say no, honestly.
So then why do women expect men to give up all the power that they've earned?
It's a good question. That's
It
a very
is.
good question.
It is.
That's
isn't
a
it?
very good question. That's a really good question. I feel like they shouldn't. I feel like if you want everybody to be equal, you shouldn't expect. You feel me? You shouldn't expect.
But isn't that what's happening in society right now?
That is what's happening.
Correct, it is.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
definitely right. That is.
I think power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Wow, he's got his Rajay's thesaurus handy, or Rajay. Okay, there you go.
I don't know if the roles were reversed that it would have any different
Roger's Rules of
outcome or
Orders
result
and-
than we have now. That's just the nature of power and authority.
Right.
Patriarchal societies are fundamentally less capable of functioning than matriarchal societies. If you look at matriarchal societies, they're more harmonious because women are actually one thing that women are better at is cooperation. Women are objectively better at cooperating.
Have you ever been actually around women, sir?
Than men are.
So let me.
And I'm not saying he's gay. What I'm saying is that you get a bunch of women together, they can be quite catty, not really cooperative.
Ask you this then: if women don't need men,
I didn't say that.
Well, my point is, if women are better at cooperation,
yes,
why don't they build a female?
This is Mongolia.
All right.
And we are not them.
That's where they have all
The only
these
company in the
matriarchal
world
societies
that's
in
created a
Mongolia.
Female-only civilization on an island, or a female-only Fortune 500 company, and show the world how it's done.
Yep.
I just think this question is really funny because you sound a lot like, if you know the Fresh and Fit podcast, just similar argument
I've
that
heard
I was
of
on
it.
that podcast.
Yeah,
That girl had a similar argument. Like, there's women that most women don't know how to do male jobs. Like, they wouldn't be able to start a civilization by themselves.
The very few women who would have the capability of doing something like that in terms of access to resources, why would they want to?
Well,
they're already taking over this society.
Now, here's the interesting thing, is that he believes matriarchies would be more cooperative and all, peace and love and all that other shit. Now, aside from raw power, if a female-led society would be better, wouldn't a lot of men, I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Why would they want to build a women's only society
I don't
when
know.
they can instead implant themselves in power, not for women necessarily, but for themselves? Why would they not just pursue power for their own sake?
Because under this evil patriarchy, Western women in the West, 2022, are the most privileged human beings that have ever existed in the history of the world. Now, if they're smart, they won't fuck it up.
This one.
When men were in charge, didn't they still make laws to protect women?
Of course.
If we lived in a matriarchy where women had all the power, would women make laws to protect men?
Not at all.
Why not?
Because it
Doesn't
wouldn't be in their
benefit
best
them
interest
directly.
to stay
That's
in
right.
control.
That's right.
I feel like no, honestly, because I feel like it's their mindset. I just feel like it's very not closed-minded, but a little bit corrupted, because I feel like they'll look at it more of as a oh, well, they didn't protect us whenever it was their time, so why should we protect them? When it's really not that, because we were protected. It was again just corrupted thinking to where you thought you weren't being protected.
Patriarchy is just a nice semantic way to complain about something that's not a problem.
Do you think that women only complain about patriarchy when they're competing with men?
I think women complain about patriarchy because it gives them an edge, and in today's competitive society, anybody will do anything for an edge.
Okay, including claiming victimhood, right?
Yes.
Okay. Isn't the idea of patriarchy oppressing women based on a false premise?
In today's day and age, absolutely.
If society was controlled by men, patriarchy,
More and more men are starting to get it, guys. They're starting to get it.
how would feminism be a movement that's gained traction without the help of men?
It would.
So then, are men really in ultimate power?
I mean, if we're giving our power away.
That's true, because we do have, there is a lot of feminists that are men as well. So that's very, damn, you're really good. You're really good.
You might as well be asking why how African American, how the civil rights movement happened if there was no racism, or if there was racism. Like, yes, we accept racism existed, which is why the civil rights movement had to happen. It's the exact same thing with feminism.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. 60, 70, 80 years ago, 100 years ago. Yeah. Not anymore, though. Sir, not anymore. No one denies there was racism. It was rampant. Look up the history in the 50s and 60s. Jim Crow, all that other shit. It was obvious. Same with women. They weren't allowed to do certain things. Well, we've already solved most of those problems. They don't exist in 2022. Can we agree to that?
If there's no patriarchy, there obviously is. Like, it's
okay. Let's stop with the patriarchy bullshit here. Every single right that women have achieved, including the right to vote, has been under the patriarchy. It's kind of a shitty patriarchy if women were allowed to get the vote and do all these other things. Now, isn't it? In other words, it's nonsense.
There's no question. But just an example of patriarchy and the built-in system.
Okay.
In the original planning of the government of the United States.
Okay, 1776-ish. Okay.
The only people who were allowed to vote were men.
Mm-hmm. And we also had slavery. And we also had a lot of other shit that we eventually fixed 150 some years ago.
But you also had to be drafted and be a landowner to be able to vote as well. Women.
That's true.
Got the right to vote without being drafted.
No, that's not true. First of all, you didn't have to be drafted to vote.
We had to be registered to be drafted.
For the draft to vote?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, young man. You should learn a little bit about your history. Back in the 60s, men were drafted to go to Vietnam, and they didn't have the right to vote, which was subsequently changed in the early 1970s with one of the amendments that gave 18-year-olds the right to vote. Shh. Facts and data. I know.
That was part of the deal. And
I know.
Women there were women who actually opposed the right to vote. Were you aware of that?
Yes.
They were called anti-suffragists.
Yeah, I know.
So why do you think that there are women? Well, let me ask you this: why do you think there are women who oppose the right to vote, or why do you think that there are women who oppose feminism?
Why does Candace Owen exist?
Can you name any rights men have today that women don't?
Any rights that men have that women do not?
Yes. Which one? Point it out. We can march in the street and get it taken care of. Which one is it? Just go ahead and
any
just
rights that men have that women do not know.
Yeah. No, what?
No.
What?
So then what laws are feminists fighting for?
It's a good question, isn't it?
Shit, that's a good one. A good one.
Yeah.
Rights?
Yeah.
Under the law.
No.
So what are feminists fighting for? What laws?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know if it's about laws. I think it's about power.
Well,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Do you think feminists want equality or do they want power?
Power.
You can't have quality without power.
Well,
if you're powerless, you can't be equal.
That's a really good one. Oh man, I don't even know, because you could fight for equality and everything, but if you think about it, essentially we've already for the most part reached equality, because if any job that's going to hire a man will more than likely hire a woman as well.
And if he could legally pay her less than a man and get the same output, they would hire all women. I know.
So that's honestly a very good point. You're right on that one.
Yes.
For real. Honestly, I don't know I don't know. Can't really be asking for nothing if you really are already, for the most part, have equality.
Bingo. And that is the main issue a lot of people have with the fembots. What exactly are you fighting for? What do you want to see? Well, you know what they want to see. When they talk about the patriarchy, they're talking about capitalism. They don't like it. They would rather be more kumbaya, sing around a campfire, and get a little bit of that socialism going on. Yeah, that's right. Let's see. What did channel 1-800-DUMB say? First time in all these many years, I saw hammers yesterday. 2 girls who were turned away from a nightclub. First time I've ever heard them admit their privilege. Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, you've seen the movie. What was it? Knocked Up or one of those movies where the, what's his face? The fat dumpy guy gets what's her face, really nice looking girl. And then they try to go to the club, on a Saturday night. And the guy won't even let them in. It's like, yo. And you're pregnant. Yeah, you can't. Should we do one more? Should we? What the hell? We're here anyway. All right. I was trying to get through this one from Jedediah Bila. And this one's about the hiccup culture. This is about the hiccup culture, gentlemen. Let's talk about the hiccup culture. Oh, hookup culture. Unfortunately, the audio is really bad on this one. Excuse me. Normally, her audio is really good. But in this time it's just not. Oh, there's us. Hamster Live, an action-packed show on International Men's Day. Let me see if I can find this here. Where the heck is it? Come on, Jedediah. Let me just add to it. Jedediah. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Well, no wonder, you idiot. Let's see. I know. I normally would have had this ready to go, but I had all these other videos. Come on. Let's see. Hook up. So let's investigate. Here she goes. All right. Let me get that going here. And, oh, geez, I got to go through the commercial first. Oh, come on. Yeah, whatever. We're not going to take it. Oh, God. Who was that? Twisted Sister? We're not going to take it. Oh, anymore. Yeah, I think it was. All right. Twisted Sister. Who turns out that guy is actually pretty straightforward.
Or what's often not talked about is hookup culture as it relates to men.
Okay.
And there are a lot of excuses made. People will say, well, guys got to get it out of their system. Guys got
to get it out of their system. Well, yeah, I could tell you, Pilgrim. Oh yeah, I was on the I was the carousel, and they were,
are biologically wired for hookup culture. It's different for men. You hear all of those things, but what you don't hear.
Hear that crappy audio though? Jeez, it's just. Jed, come on.
Someone talk about is the negative impacts that immersion in hookup culture have on a guy in terms of him being that guy who has a vision, in terms of his ambition, in terms of how he feels emotionally and physically when he gets caught up in it.
So what we need to do is first define which men are actually involved in the hookup culture. Because it certainly isn't 100% of us. Would that be a fair statement, gentlemen? I think we know, we have the data. It's very, very few are actually going out and banging all these chicks. But go on.
So let's listen to this section from Dre. This is 1057, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
To sit on that throne in your home. The goal isn't just to build yourself up so you can F chicks, bro. You're a fool if you think that's what it's all about. Hookup culture is just destroying men. Culture tells men these days, oh, just go out and enjoy yourself. Have fun while you're young. Gain experience with women.
No, that's exactly what women are told. Sir, by the way, that's exactly the kind of shit women are told. And when women partake in the activity, they go out and do all or whatever they're going to do, get a body count, notch count for, 1 million, whatever. They're lauded for it. But when men want to go out and do the same thing and sample, what's on the menu, you're a toxic. You're evil. You're a so-and-so. You know what I'm saying?
Don't even hold back. We're taught to enjoy the rewards of manhood, but only.
Well, I don't know if you guys were taught that as a kid. Did your mom and dad tell you that? Hey, by the way, little hamster, when you get old enough, you go out and fuck all the women you can get your hands on. Never said by anyone in my family, but go ahead.
Only embrace the responsibilities of a young little child. All hookup culture is, you guys, it's just I don't know if I can say this on camera.
Sure you can.
Masturbation. I'll say that. All you're doing essentially is just playing with yourself, pleasuring yourself while having another person, another woman come in and help you do it. And
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
As cheesy as it sounds, bro. But hey, look, this is someone else's daughter, bro. I mean,
hey, bro, if that person is 18 years of age or older and an adult, well, that's kind of her business, isn't it?
How effed up is that? What if another man came in and started doing that to your daughter?
You know, there'd be an even simpler solution to this about your daughter and all this other emotional bullshit. If women don't want to partake in the hookup culture, and men, then don't. Problem solved. Yay.
What if 10 different men, 20 different men started coming in and doing that to your daughter?
Well, in high school, she's probably racked up.
Just using them as a masturbation tool, a slab of meat that they can just get off to. Would you be cool if they were doing that with your daughter? I mean,
yeah, only very few men do that. And I think they're reviled for the most part. They're not high-fived. Hey, way to go, using another bunch of women over the weekend. I don't think so. Not the people I hang out with.
If you got a soul, I don't think you would like that, right? I know I wouldn't. So don't waste your time just embracing hookup culture. Our world is in the state that it's in because of this. Be very careful with the type of girls that you date. They could literally destroy your life. I know men in my own life who've gotten themselves so deep into these relationships with the wrong women that their life is literally
Johnny Depp. Hello, Johnny Depp.
hell on earth. And then you got
Okay. So these are really important points that guys need to think about. And I know, again, it sometimes is tendency to excuse behavior, that guys will manifest, such as.
Now, I know Jedediah, she rips on females as well, but this just gets me just worked up here. Oh, we're making excuses for these man whores. No, we're not. No, we're not. We can't tell these men what to do. And besides, there has to be a female to agree to hook up. There's got to be, right? And I mean, if you're gay, of course, it's different. But, in a heterosexual, there's got to be a woman that agrees to all this shit. Does there not? There'd be no hookup culture for men if women didn't agree to it. But go on.
What a bunch of girls. Oh, we got to get it out of our system. But think about it. Get what out of your system, A? And what is the benefit that comes from that?
Nobody's ever told nobody's ever said that to me. Yeah, go bang a bunch of chicks. Get it out of your system. What? No. Jed, that's what women are told. Go to college, ride on the carousel, sow your wild oats and all that stuff.
A guy who's in his mid-20s, late 20s, who's engaging in hookup culture. Just think about it for a second.
All right. Okay.
Hookup culture, I think, when it comes to men, it causes you to lose perspective, number one. It can cause you to kind of lose your sense of morality where you're in a numbers game. And in order to be the
listen to this. Listen carefully.
Popular guy, in order to be the guy that the other guys say, oh, look what he did. All of a sudden, you become that guy who's trying to get more girls, check off that list. Did I hook up with enough girls this week? Did I hook up with it? Did I have a good summer tally of? I
mean, she has absolutely no idea what it's like to be a dude, an average dude, not the top guys, not the man whores. Did I get enough women this week? Oh my God. Did I bang enough women over the weekend here? Let me tally it up. Let's see. That'd be a big 0. Yeah, for most men.
Girls. And you start to forget that, A, these are people, right? 2, they're not objects. And 3, who are you becoming in this process?
Again, I don't disagree. I think people ought to be a lot more careful and not as loose. But again, Jed, I know you're talking about men. I get it. You're trying to make a point about men. Okay. But without women agreeing to it, there would not be a bunch of man whores out there. Certainly not as widespread with all the different variety. You know what I'm saying? So let's not forget, it takes 2 to tango. See what I mean?
And if you did have a family, great point he brings up, and you have a child one day and that child is a girl.
Yep.
are you going to like pray that that girl doesn't encounter a guy who's behaving like you? You don't want to be a person that ultimately is the type of guy that you would want your future daughter to stay away from.
Well, what I would try to do is inform her that there are all these men out there that they're just going to use you, but you have the option to say no. You don't have to participate in the hookup culture. See what I'm saying?
That's bad. So sit and take that moment as a 20-something guy. It's a grown adult man, and think about it.
Yeah.
I think that also people forget oftentimes that when you're engaging in hookup culture, where does that go down? You're in the bar more, you're in the club more, you're drinking more alcohol, you're dipping into the drugs here and there. You're being less healthy when it comes to your physical body and your mental health.
You know how many times that worked for me, Jed, in my entire life? Going to a bar, drinking, whatever. I didn't do drugs, but drinking, partying, going to the club. You know how many times it worked out for me where I got to take someone home? Exactly zero. Zero.
So things get sacrificed. You know, you're not in the gym as much. You're not working as hard. Yeah. You're distracted. You're consuming all these
So if you look at it that way, it was an absolute waste of fucking time, wasn't it?
substances. That's not a good direction for you. And if you are striving to be that top 1% guy that has that ambition, that has that motivation, that's going to build an empire, that's going to build a business, that's going to make something really good happen, that makes you feel good about yourself, and in turn makes you someone who's desired by women, you don't want to get lost in hookup culture where you're drowning in substances and just a bunch of girls that are meaningless and forgetting your perspective and turning into someone that you're not going to be proud of one day.
No, I agree. That's I just not interested in that old one-night stand thing. Just not.
So it's all a big, profound, like, waste of time. It's almost like you get sucked into this dark hole of.
But Hamster, you said, hey, do you have to go to a bar to have a one-night stand? No.
Hookup culture, and then you got to claw your way out.
Or a one-afternoon stand.
Again, what I would say to guys is, like, instead of hookup culture, doesn't it sound more appealing to, like, focus on self-improvement for you to figure
so I can make myself better for women, right, Jed? Right.
Out what would actually make you into a happier, more stable, more financially independent guy,
For
you know,
women.
someone that a woman could sink into and lean on.
They just can't help it, can they? Just can't help it. Well, see, if you did all this and that and this, and you did all this stuff, you know, the women are, how about I just do it for myself? No, I have to have that goal in mind. Tits and ass, right? I have to make myself better for women. YouTube Trailer Park. She's trying to talk Chad out of being a Chad. Again, there'd be no Chads if women didn't give it up. Bottom line, there's got to be two. Two to tango. You know what I'm saying? Joshua Demers says it. Again, the moment I get this vibe from any female, it's over for respect. Guess what I can't listen to because it's just too insane? A female tells a male how to be a man. I know. All right, we'll listen to her just a little bit longer, and then we'll wrap it up here. All right, that went away. Okay, Jed, go ahead. Tell us how we can be better for women.
That's a really good feeling as a man, to have a woman next to you who feels really confident in you, so much so that she's like, you know what, babe, I trust you. Whatever decision you make, that's fine. There's nothing that's going to build up a guy's ego like feeling like, you know what, I have done enough in my life, and I have proven myself, and she trusts me. Like, if something goes down, she's leaning on me. That's an awesome feeling as a man. But in order to get there, you have to, like, track your life properly. You can't sink into the grave of hookup culture.
Now, excuse me, Jed. There are some people theorize that women don't care if you've had a lot of pussy. Practice makes perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Where you lose that perspective and all of that important insight. So focusing on self-improvement, getting in shape, getting financially stable.
Do it for the women.
And again, like I wrote down here, numbers game. Something that's it becomes that. It becomes in hookup culture. You know, I've seen guys. I remember seeing guys that when I was in my early 20s.
You didn't look at the average guy who wasn't getting any of that. You're looking at top shelf guys. Gee, come on, Jed. Stop it.
in that hookup culture mentality. And they would go
Stop
through
it.
anxiety. They would get depressed if they weren't in the game. You know, in the game meant that you went out this weekend and you were the guy who didn't get the phone number. Or who
We know what you mean. You don't have to explain it, Jedediah. We get it.
didn't hook up with a girl. Suddenly, like there's something wrong with you. You're getting obsessed about it.
Yeah.
You're depressed. You're feeling down on yourself
Yeah.
because you're playing this game. And it's the whole game is bad for you, right? You can't even, it's like you're stuck in it. It's like quicksand. Hookup culture is like quicksand. You get into the game and you're doing all the wrong stuff and you're sinking further and further
Well,
out.
if you're sinking that far in, chief, tie a 2x4 on your
Alcohol,
ass. What?
drugs, depression, girls in and out of the bed, losing your self-motivation, losing your ambition, your direction. And then you got to figure out a way to claw yourself out. And a lot of guys don't claw themselves out until they're 30-something.
Oh.
And then you've got all of those years wasted on alcohol and girls that meant nothing when you would have been investing that time into the self-improvement that would put you in a position to get a girl that you
Yes.
felt really good about.
See,
And
you can improve your ass, gentlemen, to get the women. Yay!
and you'd have your pick of the litter, honestly, because a lot of the girls are looking for that guy.
Right.
And if you really think about it, let's take looks aside and
Oh.
things like height, things like that. Height you can't control,
those,
right?
those little things that every single one of them on a dating profile demands. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Looks is you look like what you look like. You can groom yourself, of course. You can. There's things you can do to improve.
To make yourself better for women.
But think about how much is actually within your control
Okay.
to change for the better.
For women.
Like you have choices, you know, the path diverges in the wood, you know, that poem, I think it's like Robert Frost or something. You got to go one way or the other way. If one way is hookup culture and that's into the quicksand of depression, anxiety, all that stuff. And another way is self-improvement. If you could just step back and instead of letting your emotions or your sexual desires make that choice for you, let your head make that choice for you.
Get to the gym, you lazy bums. Make yourself better for women.
Take that discipline that you value so much and put it to work in that moment and say, no, you know what? This may sound good for a night, but I don't want to get stuck in the quicksand. So I'm going to do this instead. And ultimately, that's going to put me in a position to get a woman that I really value and who really respects me. And I'm going to be in a better place. So it's not easy in 2022 to avoid hookup culture because it's
Yes, it is. You just don't do it. You just don't do it. It's a voluntary choice. Oh, God. Go ahead.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And not only that, media glorifies it for men and women because
especially for women, though, really.
it's, again, the longer they keep you in that
You know, remember the movie Sex and the City and all those stupid shows?
quicksand.
Yeah.
First of all, the longer they keep you in the quicksand, the harder it is going to be for you to climb out. Secondly, the longer they keep you and the women in the quicksand, then women are delaying, you know, their super fertile years are getting delayed. You're, you know, getting delayed in terms of, you know, when you marry and all of that. So that union is less and less likely to come together and be that stable unit. So there's
And the population of the country is declining. So we have to import people because women ain't having babies.
motivation. There's an agenda here by the system, the matrix, whatever you want to call it. It's up to you to look at that and say, I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing that game. I'm either going to, you know, find somebody that I really want to be with. It's going to be a relationship that matters to me. And we're going to, like, you know, work on this mission together. Or I'm going to stay single and I'm going to focus on what I need to do to put myself in the best position to have that house, to have that car, to be that rock to lean on. If you want to watch the full episode, you're going to click right here.
Everything you do, gentlemen, should be for the female. Let's read a few comments. Ocean Hedonist. She's a typical New York bossy biatch. Well, she was on The View or some crap, right? No, I haven't had any beer, actually. No beer. Nope, not tonight. John G. Cringe Overload. Yay. James Young. Nope. Who else is here? John, men build a career at the gym because of women. Yeah. Shark Dentures. Truth. It's called the feminist agenda. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Chrome Dome Omega. Well, hell, I can't see Outlaw. What the fook? I don't know what's going on. I'm not. No, I'm not. I mean, I got to watch the film on the other. Why are you doing this to me? You evil man, you. Yeah, Steve Sanchez, 666 Chad. Absolutely. Migtala. Hell, I can't read it. Oh my God, I need new glasses. Hello. Is this Domino's? Nope, it's Ape serving it up to the deep state. Okay, all right. Lord Messiah Disciple. One more. I'm on the treadmill right now. 1,000 calorie goal. Good for you. Make sure you just do it for the women, not for yourself, not because it's healthy, not because of anything like that. Do it for the girls. Yay. All right. What time is it? All right. 8:44. I was going to do one. Ben Shapiro had a long speech on his podcast the other day about marriage. We might do that later or probably tomorrow. I thought it was rather interesting because we all know there's a fairly simple way for Chucky Schumer to get all kinds of babies born in America. All we got to do is a couple little things with respect to the marriage and divorce laws. But do you think they're going to do that? No. Why would they? Why are we doing this to you, Mr. Maxwell, for the tears? Your salt sustains us. Fun. Simply not true. Oh, Samantha P is here. Go ahead. A lot of women do care how many women you've been with. And if a woman is genuinely interested in you, you don't need to be uber successful. Well, again, it varies. You know, you can't necessarily take into account everyone because everybody's different, but you can look at the population and trends that it doesn't seem to be as big a deal. I mean, yeah, you watch Fresh and Fit, you watch this kind of shit, right? And they're garden tools on those shows, and they tend to be anyway. Not all of them. They tend to be, and so a lot of them will say it doesn't matter to them. Well, I think a lot of that is what would be the best way to put that? Force field shield. I don't care about your number, but don't ask me mine, right? That kind of thing. Could be something like that anyway. Yep. Samantha P. She speaks these things as if they're impossible to do simultaneously. Yeah. Well, I like Jed, but yeah, she just sometimes gets a little. Sir Killa Hayes is in the building. Hello. Majority feel the opposite of what you speak, young lady. All right. All right. Channel 1-800-JUMP says vasopressin and oxytocin reaction is different. Well, you know, we're men and women. Well, he's different. All right, you guys, have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow on International Men's Day or International Toilet Day. Or what's the difference? Just flush it. Be done with it. All right. See you guys later. Have a good night. Bye.